Hello there. Game of Thrones Season 5 aired in April of 2015 and is the first season not to include an episode written by A Song of Ice and Fire author George R. R. Martin. Unlike previous seasons, which would adapt one book or one volume of a book per season, Season 5 adapts not one, but two books. 3 if you're thinking in terms of volumes released. So while the previous 4 seasons had to adapt this much material, Season 5 had to adapt this much material. Yes, it's less, but it's still a lot. And yet, the season doesn't feel overstuffed. It probably helps that this season makes the most deviation from George R. R. Martin's novels. George R. R. Martin did originally intend the novels that this season adapts, A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons, to be one novel, but it became so dense that he was forced to split it into multiple books and volumes that focused on different characters. Jon Snow, Daenerys Targaryen, and Tyrion Lannister don't appear in A Feast for Crows, and Cersei Lannister, Arya Stark, and Brienne of Tarth don't appear in the first volume of A Dance with Dragons. It's not until volume 2 of A Dance with Dragons, After the Feast, get it? That everything comes together. Well, not really. George still hasn't finished writing the friggin' series. Arya Stark settles in Braavos to train to be some kind of magic assassin. Jon Snow travels north of the Wall to recruit the Wildlings. Davos Seaworth has to deal with King Stannis Baratheon as it becomes obvious that his campaign will fail. Sansa Stark reunites with Theon, now Reek, as they're both terrorized by Ramsay Snow, who is later legitimized as Ramsay Bolton. Cersei Lannister deals with the political aftermath following her father's death. Tyrion Lannister is being escorted by Varys to be brought to Daenerys Targaryen until he is intercepted by Jorah Mormont, who also plans on taking him to Daenerys. While Daenerys has to deal with a rebellious faction of former slaver supporters that want her dead, and Jaime is sent on a mission to take his and Cersei's daughter Myrcella out of Dorne where they fear for her safety. Oh, that's not even everything. Season 5 opens with a flashback for Cersei where a witch accurately tells her future. Cersei will have 3 children and the king will have 20, none they share. A part of the prophecy that the TV series omits is the Voluncar, which is High Valyrian for little brother, and is said to end her life. Cersei thinks that Tyrion will be her murderer, though I'm betting on Jaime. They're twins, but Jaime was born after Cersei. Though with Jaime leaving Cersei's side at the conclusion of Season 7, who knows? Through Sansa and Reek, we see the cruelty of Ramsay Bolton. I didn't really discuss it during the previous seasons, but I'll make up for it here. In fact, I can discuss it just by talking about Theon and in turn Alfie Allen's acting. Allen actually has some range as an actor, being the arrogant and bratty lord of Season 1, to the insecure and conflicted conqueror of Season 2, to the mentally broken and barely sane shell of a man from Season 4 onwards. Just seeing Theon as a quivering pile of fear in Ramsay's presence is scary. The actor that portrays Ramsay, Iwan Rheon, gives him a terrifying aura, and it's really up to us whether he's a child that just wants to make his father proud, or a sociopath that fears losing power. But damn, could you imagine this guy as Jon Snow? He actually auditioned for Jon Snow. You know what, so did Alfie Allen. During Season 5 we see more White Walkers and I don't like their armor. Their armor was described to be somewhat ripplingly beautiful in the books. Here, it's pretty much like everything else. Oh well. The Night King is cool though. We saw him turn a baby into a White Walker during Season 4, but it's here that we see why we should fear him. After a pulse-pounding battle, Jon Snow just barely escapes. But many wildling bodies are left behind, and the Night King, staring down Jon, raises his arms, and then the dead rise again behind him. Also, he's Joe Chill from Batman Begins. This episode probably had one of the most effective character deaths of the whole series in this woman. We see her side with Jon Snow's cause, fight alongside her kin, try to send the weak off to safety, get murdered by white children, and finally resurrected as another enemy, all in the span of a few seconds. And we feel bad about this. That's nothing if not effective. Bran Stark does not appear. A change from the book was Tyrion Lannister meeting Daenerys Targaryen. Though this hasn't happened in the books yet, they seem to be building to it. To accommodate this, the TV series had to cut some material from the books. From both, Cersei offers a reward to anyone who brings her Tyrion's head. This, however, does lead to the death of many innocent dwarves. Keep in mind that Tyrion did not poison Joffrey. In the books, this leads to a dwarf woman who had this happen to her dwarf brother, and blames Tyrion for this and fails an attempted assassination on Tyrion. I can understand why book fans would be upset over this being cut, but you can't adapt everything, and honestly I'm okay with this. Daenerys and Tyrion are both some of my favorite characters, as you might have guessed, and it's very cool to finally see them interact with each other. Also, Daenerys rides Drogon in a very cool and terrifying scene where the Sons of the Harpy try to kill her. These guys already killed Barristan Selmy, so they should probably be taken seriously. And you do take it seriously when they attack. Daenerys, Missandei, Tyrion, Daario, and Jorah are in great danger, and you don't know who'll live if anyone will. And then you hear a demonic cry, and then a shadow flies across the sky, and Drogon then burns all of Daenerys' enemies. It's very cathartic, and you feel like you're Daenerys riding that dragon. Cersei Lannister, in an attempt to maintain power over King's Landing and her king's son Tommen Baratheon, reinstates the Faith Militant, who captures and imprisons the Queen Margaery Tyrell for crimes against the faith. If it doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry. It just means that you understand why church and state should be separate. Unfortunately for Cersei, her cousin Lancel Lannister, whom she had invited into her bed, became a religious fanatic, and revealed some information that gets Cersei imprisoned. Cersei eventually agrees to a penance walk to be released to the Red Keep and tried later. Cersei is stripped, has her hair cut, and is forced to walk from the Sept of Baelor to the Red Keep, which is a fair walk. All the while the crowd expresses their hatred at her, and knowing the kind of person that she is, it's hard to feel too sorry for her. The constant jeers and filth thrown at her quickly removes any titillation from the scene, and Lena Headey is great in the scene without saying a word. It's all in her face. The end to Jon Snow stories, tragic. It was a death that shocked millions of fans, myself among them. It was done for him letting in the free folk from across the wall, something that the Night's Watch are not supposed to do. But Jon saw it necessary, given that the dead are coming, and for every wildling that dies, another soldier fights for the Night King. Everything that Jon Snow did, he did for the realms of men, and for his efforts, his own men stab him in the chest. It's just so damn heartbreaking for this viewpoint character that we've got to know, being developed, and whose story we've been invested in, is just snuffed out, and we have him just lying on the snow, bleeding out, staring blankly at us as his life leaves his body. And it's the last thing that we see of Season 5. And I'm sorry, but that's where I'll be closing this review. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Vala Morghulis.